All right, so here's my new Subaru. Well, new to me, it's not brand new. It's 2003. Excuse me, 2023. It's 2023 with 7,500 miles. I drove it. I just picked it up this morning, so I drove it about 100 miles already. Drove it about 60 plus miles back from the dealership where I got it from. I got it at actually surprisingly a good price. It was basically I got it for market value at not even dealership market value, but like private property sale market value on the upper end of that value. So I made off all right. You know, the dealer didn't make as much of a margin as they wanted to, but you know, it is what it is. You know, this car's been sitting on the lot for ever since summer, I think. So it's been sitting on the lot for 4 months, 5 months. I think 4 months. And the reason why that is, you know, everyone sees it and they're like, oh, they want it. And all of a sudden, they look inside, and all of a sudden, it's a stick shift. So they're like, oh, and good for me is that nowadays, not too many people drive stick anymore, especially the people that drive Subarus, you know, unless you're like a WRX STI person. Outside of that, you know, the people that normally get Subaru, they don't usually drive stick, you know. It's a different crowd, right? But my ass was looking for a stick shift, so something that's relatively newer, not all beat to shit. So this was what I found at I think a fair price, I think. Anyways, it looks silver, but every time I look at it, it seems like it's not just silver. It looks like it has a hint of blue, maybe, or it's just my eyes. I'm not sure. Maybe a touch of blue, slightly. But anyways, it's a nice color. So what do I think so far? So far, this car is. Actually, I haven't even sat in the back seat. Let me go in here and sit in the back seat real fast. I'm gonna sit behind myself. Oh, look at that. That's a lot of space. So I am. I have a 30-inch inseam. I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day. So this is plenty of space. And the seat's actually comfortable. This is actually probably the nicest car I've ever owned. I've always had, you know, econo box, except for my Miata. And the Miata, the interior is kind of, it's not the highest quality interior. I think this interior is maybe feels about the same, or maybe I don't know, maybe about the same, I think, as my Miata. But you know, it's newer. Anyways. No, actually, you know what? I didn't check the head space. Okay, the head space is pretty good. Head space, I have a handful, almost a handful. Let's see. Yeah. So let's see the middle seat right here. Middle seat fits okay too. Middle seat fits okay. Let's close the door over there. Back seat. So this passenger seat is slid all the way back. So I still have 3 fingers, two roomy fingers, 3 tight fingers. Again, I have a 30-inch inseam. So yeah, so it feels like it's plenty of space to me. Let's see. Yeah, it's a pretty nice car. It drives really smooth, really quiet. Compared to any car I've ever had, this is the smoothest, quietest car I've ever had. Again, I've only had econo boxes. The noisiest car I've ever had is actually the Miata. Miata is noisier than anything else. And the new Miata, anyways, if you ever driven inside a new Miata, it's like you're driving inside a tin can. You know, that's how noisy it is. That's the reason why I put sound deadening, and that helps a lot. Let's see this. Get over here, see how this fits. Oh yeah, it's plenty of space. Look at that. So that's 6+ feet. You know, if I have a 30-inch inseam, it looks like you could be a 34-inch inseam and you still be comfortable. Once you probably push, say, 36 inseam, it might be kind of tight. But I think up to the 34 inseam, you'll be fine. So I guess this is the premium model. So this is the sport model, premium, and I think the touring model. The stick shift only comes in, I believe, the premium model, at least in the US. There's some cool things right here, like this little color match stitching all the way around on the steering wheel, the seats. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. Even has the let's see. It looks like it has auto darkening mirrors. I'm not sure. I haven't driven in the dark yet, so I don't know. But it looks like it has auto darkening mirrors. But it has the home link as well. Three position instead of one. 3 garage instead of 1. So yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. It's definitely more loaded than any other car I've ever owned in my life, for sure. So yeah, so looks like I'm moving up a little bit, huh? Moving on up to the east side. Let's see. So my initial impressions of the car, besides it looks real nice and drives nice and smooth and quiet. Let's talk about the steering wheel. The steering wheel is actually, I really like. I like the size, the diameter. It's sporty. It's like small, and the thickness. It feels just right. The steering wheel feels just right, and I like the fact that it's also telescopes. So I have it. The way that I like to drive is I have the steering wheel all the way down and telescope all the way back. So it's right there. So when I'm sitting in the seat, with my shoulder back and everything, my wrist right here will rest. I will able to have my wrist at 90 degrees. Right. And so like I mentioned earlier, I'm looking for a manual transmission, a stick shift, right? So that's 1, stick shift. 2, a real parking brake, right? None of those electronic parking brakes. 3, a real key, no wireless key fob bullshit. I have that in the Miata, and it's sort of cool, but I sort of don't like it at the same time. It's not as secure, right? Because someone could have one of those RF whatever readers, and they could basically steal your car. So regular key. So one thing about this shifter, when I first test drove it at the dealership, was the shifting. It was the throw was very far. It's farther than my. The past couple weeks I've been driving my Miata, so the Miata already has a short throw, but I put a short shifter in it, so it has about a Cork Sport short shifter, so it has 14% less throw. So jumping to this, man, it felt like I was like, whoa, what the hell? It felt really far, really long throws, and also it felt really sloppy. My Miata shifter, it's very what's the word? Everything's very precise, very tight and precise and very exact. Not a lot of slop. This one, it felt like a lot of slop, kind of loosey goosey sort of, and besides a long throw. The throw is even longer than my my Honda Fit. The Honda Fit has shorter throws than this, so that sort of threw me off a little bit. It's not as bad as my Ford Ranger. My Ford Ranger was a 2003 Ford Ranger, and that one was really like loosey goosey and really long throws. So this one's not as bad, but it's longer. The throws are longer than I would like, and the feel of it feels kind of vague, kind of feeling, kind of sloppy sort of feeling. So I don't like that either. So I really actually ordered some Billy, I think it's called Billy Works. Not the short shifter itself. I don't the shifter feels fine to me. Even the height and everything, it feels fine. So they have actually a linkage that you put. I guess it's underneath the where the tunnel is, underneath the car. A linkage that would reduce the throw. I think they claim 35%. If you do both the shifter itself has 35% and the linkage has 35%. But if you do both of them, they say 55%. But I think that's too much. I think the 35% is fine, and I have it from the little linkage, so it's a little cheaper too because the shifter itself is it's a lot more expensive. So I got that. I ordered that short throw linkage. I ordered a little bushing, because I think in here it's like some type of plastic bushing, so it's kind of loosey goosey. I ordered I guess it's a billet bushing. So everything will feel more precise, more exact. And I ordered from them some kind of stopper. I'm not sure what it was. It was supposed to mount on the left side here. So when you shift between first to second, or shifting into first or into second, it's more exact. I mean, it feels fine to me. The whole thing feels kind of sloppy. So I'm gonna do that. Other thing I noticed is the clutch, and the shifter and the clutch. They feel pretty good, pretty smooth. The clutch is pretty soft. Not quite as soft as my Honda Fit. The Honda Fit's a little bit softer. Also, the shifter is a little smoother too. Smoother shifting. I think the Honda shifter. I think Honda makes the best shifters. Even my Miata, the Miata shifter doesn't feel quite as smooth as my Honda does. But almost the Mazda Miata shifter is almost as smooth as a Honda shifter, but not quite. But the Miata clutch though, oh man, that clutch is fantastic. That thing has so much modulation, and you can feel it too. It's like it feels so good. That's probably the best clutch I've ever felt. The Honda Fit shifter feels a little better, a little smoother, more sloppy because but as far as like smoothness goes, it's a little bit smoother in the shifting. But the clutch, I think on the feel on the Fit is softer, but it feels I can sense the engagement point pretty easily. Not as good as the Miata. On this car, the shifter feels. It has a little bit less of a feel to it. No, it's springy when you push it down. It pops back up pretty good, but the feel of it as you release to as it engages points, it still feels kind of a little bit more vague than the Honda Fit does. And again, the Mazda Miata, the ND Miata, that thing. That's the best clutch of all the cars all the manual transmission I've ever driven. That car has the best clutch I've ever felt. The modulation is just fantastic. So that's that. So I'm gonna do that. Let's see what else I'm gonna do. So I was driving around. I took it up into the mountains, driving around. I drove not really fast, but because this is a new car, I'm not I don't know it's how it feels yet. I'm still feeling it out, so I didn't drive it as fast. I drove it fast, but not as fast as I normally do. And I can feel how soft it is. I'm gonna say it's not quite, the springs are not quite as soft as the third generation Fit, the GK Fit. I think that Fit is softer than this one is. So this one feels a little bit firmer, but it still feels kind of soft, kind of wallowy, kind of like a boat. You know how a boat is kind of. When you're on a boat, it's just kind of like up and down, sort of rocking a little bit. So this suspension feels a little bit like that. The springs feels a little bit soft. So I'm gonna be upgrading the springs to firmer springs. I was debating on what type of springs to get. I think what company was it called? I think it was called. Was it Alitech or something Tech? Something I forgot now. So I'm gonna get some of those. They're firmer. They have their sports springs, which is 20% firmer. Front and rear 20% firmer, and they have their overload springs. So the overload spring is, as far as I could tell, they only make it for the rear. If you're like carrying stuff, or maybe even towing a trailer and stuff, you carry stuff. It's even squats down the back even more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the 20% firmer in the front, and the overload springs are 30% firmer. So that's what I'm gonna put in there. I think because this car's so new, I'm gonna keep the shocks and see how that goes. Instead of going with the Bilstein, I think B6, I believe. And the reason for that is I was reading about it, and they say that the Bilstein B6, the rebound is really fast, and I don't want that. I don't want fast rebound. I don't like fast rebound. So the stock rebound, they say, is slower. So I'm gonna try that and see how it goes. But apparently, the firmer springs might wear out the shocks faster, but that's fine. No big deal. If they wear out whenever they wear out, I might just try the Bilsteins and see. And people say they're nice. So what do I know, right? I mean, I haven't tried it for myself, so I can't really say until I actually do it. So I'm gonna do that. And other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a roof rack on here. I'm gonna take the roof rack from my Honda Fit and I'm gonna put it up on here. I ordered the towers already, so I'm gonna put those on the towers with the aero bars. I was gonna get the the regular, the short towers where the crossbar doesn't overhang, but the one I have is the arrow bars where they overhang, you know, they stick out like, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches past these bars. So Yakima has the bars where they end up in the tower, so nothing sticks out. But you know, I don't want to spend more money than I have to because I already have those bars and everything. So the only thing I have to do is just buy the towers. So that's the cheapest. That's the cheapest bet for me, anyways. So this thing's pretty long, so I'm probably gonna put it all the way to the front and the back, so that way it spreads the load instead of being shorter. And that way I can carry my kayak. Basically, that's what that's for. It's my kayak. Other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a hitch for here. I'm gonna stick with a 1 1/4 inch hitch instead of a 2. You could get both a 2-inch or a 1 1/4. The thing is, the 2-inch is a little bit bigger, right? So that means you have less ground clearance, especially a departure angle. So you have less clearance for that. So the 1 1/4, you know, it's only a 1/4 inch less, but you know, 1/4 inch could be the difference between hitting the back of the hitch, the bottom of the hitch on a departure angle or not. So I'm gonna stick with that because my back rack is already a 1 1/4, and my trailer is already 1 1/4. Everything I have is already 1 1/4. So just stick with that. No reason to go bigger. And plus, you know, this is a little 4-cylinder. You know, 2-liter 4-cylinder. It ain't towing much. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's pretty dirty down here. I see it. I see, like, I'm not sure if they drove in the rain or what, but or the dirt road or what, but a little bit on the dirty side. Let's see what else I'm gonna do with this thing. I think that's about it. So I really like it. It's like it feels. It drives really nice. You know, again, it's probably the nicest car I've ever owned. You know, besides my Miata, but that's different. You know, the Miata is just in a different league. So that's it. That's my initial first thoughts, first impressions, and what I planned on doing to this car. All right, thanks for watching.